A lot the Congress has to get to is health care, it's tax reform, things like that. But Russia keeps coming back. I mean, even over the weekend, getting back from the G20, the president tweeted out that he thought it was a good idea maybe to work with the Russians on cybersecurity. Actually, Senator Lindsey Graham had some observations about that thought. Let's play what he had to say over the weekend.
Not the dumbest idea I've ever heard, but it's pretty close. He gave a really good speech in Poland, President Trump did, and he had what I think is a disastrous meeting with President Putin. 2 hours and 15 minutes of meetings. Tillerson and Trump are ready to forgive and forget when it comes to cyber attacks on the American election of 2016.
So, Kevin, with all that's pending in front of Congress, nobody seems willing to give up on Russia, the president or the senators such as Lindsey Graham. Is this going to get in the way of things like health care?
Well, David, hope you had a good weekend. Look, there is some precedent for administrations working with top global powers such as China into entering into some type of accord agreement, so to speak, of a truce, so to speak, on cyber technology. We've seen this in the past with the United States relationship with China. And so the president in his tweets is seemingly suggesting a similar path forward on that. Now, of course, over the weekend, a new report from the New York Times suggesting that Donald Trump Jr. had a previously undisclosed meeting with a Kremlin-associated lawyer back on June 9th, 2016, with Paul Manafort, then the campaign manager, as well as Jared Kushner. So this comes just 2 days before Christopher Wray is set to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee as the president's FBI director nominee. I'm sure he'll face questions on that, as well as how he will continue the ongoing investigations into Russia's meddling into the 2016 election. But, you know, look, it is worth noting that Jared Kushner did note this specific meeting in question in his own disclosures. But once again, the president returning home from an international trip and facing a lot of questions back here about Russia.
Well, and Kevin, I dare say that President Putin went into that meeting hoping that he could get loosened up, the sanctions against Russia. At the same time, there's a bill pending right now in the Senate that actually would take the sanctions farther than they've been so far. What are the prospects of that?
Well, the bill passed nearly unanimously out of the Senate. It is now in limbo in the House of Representatives. It has not had a date set yet for there to be a vote. Of course, there is intense pressure from folks like Senator Lindsey Graham, as well as Democrats, to increase sanctions against Russia as a result of this. But this is where it gets interesting, and where we should get into the weeds a little bit, is that the energy sector here in the United States, as well as some technology companies, are actually taking a look at this Russia sanctions bill and scratching their heads, David, because they are in agreement that there has to be something done against Russia and a response to what happened in 2016 elections. But they feel that this will actually end up hurting U.S. businesses and U.S. companies. Now, the political framing here in Washington suggests that it's a much more simpler case and that Republicans are just trying to go easy on Russia, along with the White House. But the policy of this is where it really is going to get interesting, because, again, some major oil and energy sector companies are a bit concerned that this would hurt U.S. companies. David?
Kevin, thanks.